I'm going to get very, very focused and show you the step-by-step aspects of being able to go into a nightclub or a party or even a daytime location where there's a lot of people and meet just about every single person there, but get to a point where from those meetings, they want to also give you what you were hoping to get from that interaction. So in other words, I think a lot of time what happens is that the first layer is you just learn how to walk up to somebody and to engage. And then the second layer is you learn how to walk up to an entire venue and engage everybody. But the third layer in our little framework that we're doing here is that you learn how to engage everybody, but then they wind up actually calling you back, or they wind up actually wanting to go out with you, or they wind up actually coming to your party, or they wind up actually getting into a relationship with you, or having a fling with you, or networking with you, or making friends, or introducing their contacts to you. But getting to the point where you're somebody who's sufficiently in demand that if you go out and you meet people, that is going to lead to people actually giving you what you want. So you give them what they want, they give you what you want, and you wind up getting a win-win. Now, funny enough, I'm going to be honest with you here, okay? When I use words like getting what you want, that is like I'm speaking to a baby, because obviously anybody who's good at this knows it's not about what you want, it's about giving, it's about adding value. But unfortunately, that is preaching to the choir. Like if I say, offer value, just give, and giving is the language of people that win. Like anybody who's anybody knows about what you give. But the problem is that's preaching to the choir. If you knew that getting what you want was from the language of giving, you wouldn't even be watching this video, because you'd be a multi-millionaire. You'd have the dating life of your dreams. Everything would be perfect. So you probably haven't quite figured that out yet. So I'm going to speak in your language, and I'm going to say, you're going to get what you want. All the little things you want, you're going to get it. Which, of course, when you transcend that and go to language of giving, you give other people what they want, you're going to get what you want, okay? But I'm going to show this to you within a framework of where you're currently most likely at, which is that you want something, and God forbid you should get something. I mean, that's a good thing to want something too. I mean, it's healthy. At least your relationship to receiving is healthy. We got to work on your relationship to giving. But if we want to get your relationship to receiving healthy, then I'm going to show you a couple of tips, okay? Now, by the way, I'm going to go into very, very specific ideas here, and this is going to get really, really dense, powerful, effective. It's going to be the best you could possibly ever get on this topic, I promise you. But if you want to get step-by-step information completely for free, where I take you through the entire framework, all for free, by the way, all you got to do is just hop on in here. Higher Purpose Program. This is a program that is totally for free. And I did this so that I could get a little bit crazier on these lives. But the problem is you're not going to understand what is on these lives unless you watch this. Higher Purpose Program is basically very focused, very structured, very organized, step-by-step small videos that talk about, first of all, we have an entire social skills course in there that gives you all the frameworks that you need for social skills. And then we have another one on wealth building and the powerful principles of self-help, okay? And I make this available pretty rarely at this point. I only leave it up here or there. So if you want to get in, we're going to be taking it down this week, www.higherpurposeprogram.com. By the way, once you get in here, you also get access to free coaching. You get access to free groups. We have a free group in there. Remember the old school forums? We got a popping, huge forum, tons of people inside there. You get access to free events. Some of the events that are coming up actually are Denver, LA, Charlotte, Atlanta, Nashville, Portland, Seattle. We have Chicago, Honolulu, New York, Boston, DC, Philadelphia, and all of Texas after that, Miami, all that stuff. But these are the ones that are coming up very, very soon, within about a month. I'm going to be leaving for Denver in a couple of days. Okay. And then LA is going to be massive. Charlotte, Atlanta, Nashville will be more intimate events because those are kind of like smaller southern cities, but they're going to be amazing. It's going to be an incredible weekend. In Portland, Seattle, those are totally free events, kind of event you pay about $5,000 for. And again, you can go directly into that via Self-Help Free Tour, but also getting in here at Higher Purpose Program lets you get a lot of the best lessons from here for free. So I'm going to go very, very deep today, but I got to be honest with you. If you're serious about your progress, you get your ass out to a free event, you fly out to one, and likewise, you watch the actual proper frameworks that are in here, okay? Because I created that so I can get a little bit more off the wall here, okay? All right, so if you're ready to get very pragmatic, let's talk about it. Okay, so first of all, I want to be clear to you. Approach anxiety is for fucking weird losers, okay? That means that if you have any anxiety around going up and talking to somebody, you're fucked up. And I'm saying that not to lower your self-esteem. I'm saying that to recognize that that's not fucking normal, okay? It is not normal to have anxiety to go talk to somebody. We have been taught that that is normal. Normal is you go say hi. Like, come on. Like, how does that even make me look like an asshole? Like, it's a human. Say hi. What the fuck? So that has to be understood. It is, you're being fucking weird, okay? Like, normal people like it when they're in public and other people are friendly. Like, they're not there to be mean to you and to reject you. Normal people like friendly other people. So if you're somebody who's friendly and you go talk to somebody, that is generally going to 70, 80% of the time yield a very, very, very positive response. And if you're really good at it, it's going to, those numbers go up from there. Okay, so anytime that you see someone who you want to talk to, if you're a friendly person and you're engaging, that is very, very, very normal behavior. If you have anxiety around that, you are self-rejecting. You are rejecting yourself. Like, for example, someone comes and talks to me, I'm chilling. I'm like, hey, like, I'm not nervous about that. I'm like, hey, what's up? How's it going? Like, I'm normal about it, like, to whatever degree. If you could also be normal, then we would have a normal conversation. So any weird feelings that you have around talking to somebody, that is completely coming from things like childhood wounding, unhealed trauma, massively low cripplingly low self-esteem to where you clam up when you talk to someone, have a normal conversation. It also comes from things like wanting something from them or fearing their judgment or wanting their validation. And it's just creating this fucking mess in your brain. And so what you've got to do is you've got to just normalize that whole process, okay? So make it normal that when you see someone who you want to talk to, you engage with them. Just get used to doing that, right? Like, even my kids, it's normal that they're social. They're not trying to hook up with anybody, but it would be normal to have friends and to be social. So it's normal to have friends and to be social. It's normal to make new friends. Like, that's something that you could be doing at any age and just making friends, okay? So get used to just engaging with people and making friends with them. Now, what you'll find is the challenge is that it's less about the initial interaction. Like, the vast majority of people are going to be very, very, very friendly to you. The challenge is getting them to follow up. And then, you know, once they're not in the moment of talking to you, to actually go and, follow up with you and then, want to take it further with you, give you money or, hook up with you or date you or get into a relationship with you or introduce you to their network or to build a friendship, right? That's a different level. So the way that we'll kind of lead into this is that we're going to basically say, let's look quickly at how to make initial approaches, but then let's look a little bit further than that at how to actually get it to where they want to follow up and give you what you want, okay? Again, though, the hidden language of high status people is giving. It's just that people don't realize that, okay? So that's sort of, but that is basically how you get what you want, okay? So the way that I basically will go about doing this is I'm always meeting everybody all the time, okay? So the first thing to understand is that every interaction is already open. There's actually no such thing as an opener. It doesn't exist. There is no opener. Every interaction is already open. That's what you're failing to understand. It's paradoxical, okay? So the reason why that happens is because you have so much happiness within you that when you tap into that happiness, when you walk around, you create a radius around you and other people feel that happiness and then they want to be a part of it because emotions are contagious, okay? So people are always creating these little kind of like mini cults wherever they go by kind of synchronizing and syncing with other people. So what you do is you curate inside your mind what kind of emotions other people would like. And that emotion's pretty basic. It's just called being outgoing, being happy. So you're a happy person. You're not sitting there dwelling on your insecurities like your dad said you're a piece of crap or your mom said that you're a dick or the kids at school said you're a loser. Like, that's like you've healed that. You're just normal now. So basically what you do is you're just in a happy state because you're alive. It's like another day that you're alive, that you're happy. Obviously, there's nothing to be unhappy about. Like, there's literally nothing in your life to be unhappy about, just the mere fact that you're living. If you're unhappy, that's just called low gratitude. So the mere fact that you're living another day, you're happy. So you're just a happy person. You're a normal person, just going about your life, enjoying the gift of being alive. So then you basically just take that joy and you have that as you walk down the street. So that creates a radius around you that other people can feel, and they feel that joy from you. And then when you look at them, they're going to look back at you, and then literally you basically just have like a sort of assumed familiarity verbally with them. So it's like you've known each other for years. Like, you just start talking like you've known each other for years. And then what starts happening is like you're just in these ongoing conversations, and then you almost get back to the old school of before all this bullshit on the internet, how people like meet off the internet. And it's like you're in the town square. And you're just in the town square, you're meeting everybody, and you're coming in there with like an old school mindset. You know, it's funny, I was at Turning Point USA, which is a very conservative group, and literally the women that were like the thought leaders there on stage were yelling at people to do cold approach. Like they're literally they're like, fucking men in here, stop being such fuck, and this is the women, stop being such fucking pussies. What is wrong with you? Approach a fucking woman. What the hell is wrong with you guys? You know, like literally yelling at like the women, yelling at the guys, like approach us, talk to us, like literally yelling that because they're like, get off your fucking, she would say, one of them was saying Snapchat. She's like, get off your fucking Snapchat, get off fucking Tinder, get off fucking Bumble, talk to a fucking woman. What's your fucking problem? Like literally like that's what we've come to is like, they're like the thought leaders, like the female thought leaders are like yelling at the guys there, like go talk to them. They wouldn't say it was for sex. They would say it was to get married. Because more conservative mindset and basically like go find a fucking wife, have some fucking kids, like talk to a fucking woman, like literally just like trying to break through a lot of their conditioning. So then what you had was basically like that mindset is just more old school. It's just a more old school mindset. Being friendly, being cool, talking to people, being happy. Old school mindset. Just it's like the whole world is the town square. Someone doesn't want to talk to you, hey, have a great day. Hey, good meeting you. Like, it's not a big deal. Anytime someone ever would not want to talk to me, oh, have an amazing day. Oh, have a great day. Hey, really good to meet you. I just walk off. It's like nothing. You know, or you just bounce. You just get out of there. You know, simple. Because not everybody owes you a conversation. That's completely fine. But it also doesn't mean that we have to live in some weird isolated world where we just hide from each other either, right? Like, do you think that you're too good to talk to other people, right? Like, for example, like you think you're too good for a beautiful woman to say hi to her, like you should just like this is like some bizarre like segregated society where you're too good, like you're so above her that you couldn't even acknowledge her, like that you think that you're like a snob. Like why can't you talk to somebody, be a normal cool person and talk to everybody? And I actually really kind of do talk to everybody. Like I talk to people when I go out. I don't pedestalize any one type of person. I pretty much just talk to everybody and joke around because I'm a giver and I just like to give and to chat and to talk to everybody. People are often surprised by it. You know, people come up to me on the street sometimes who know my stuff, and if I'm tired and I can't talk, I don't talk. I'm like, hey, I gotta go. But if I have some energy, I'm joking around, I'm having fun. They're surprised by that. And they're like, wow, like you're so cool. I'm like, I'm not cool. Like I'm a person. You know, it's like just be a person, talk to people, right? So you want to be thinking of it more within that framework of just being a person. So basically what you do is wherever you go, you have that radius and you just begin to get into conversations. And that should be something that you're doing all the time. What that does is, like, I don't know about you, but I'm somebody where I'm very particular about who I want to meet. I'm very, very, very particular about who I want to meet, and that includes personality. So basically, I'm looking for a needle in a haystack. And so what I'm doing is I'm broadening my lead funnel dramatically by meeting people all the time. And basically, you know, say I live in a city like LA, I'm going to know just about everybody here. Like I'm going to know, you know, the different social groups, and I'm going to be friends with them, and I'm going to do parties, and I'm going to invite all them up. So you want to get it to the point where you basically know everybody in your city. Even if you live in a huge city, like you know the main pockets that you want to be part of, you know people because you're a friendly, normal person. Okay, you're not making it about you and all these creepy insecurities and creepy, weird inner noise and stuff like that. You're just making it about human normalcy, okay? Then what you do, and this is, I think, the piece that people don't understand. This is where you kind of take it from, like the mere fact that you can talk to anybody, that you should be able to get down within about 2-3 days, okay? It's about 2 or 3 days to make the shift to talking to everybody, right? Because usually when you teach someone to talk to people, they're like, like they get all weird about it, right? And so it's like, be normal. And then they're like, oh shit. And then they just realize like, I can literally talk to like everybody and anybody, like it's crazy. So then what you do is you kind of do that, and you generally want to build out something on social media. It's not about followers. In fact, I think high follower counts at this point are viewed as kind of tacky. You know, back in the day they were viewed as cool. Now it's kind of weird. You don't need a high follower count, but you do need to have something that lets someone know the needed pieces about you on your social media. If you don't have that, then you're making it very, very difficult for that person because they're trying to decide where to put their time and energy. So you know, there's obvious, very basic things that you should be putting on your social media. I could put that in a different video. I mean, I'm happy to tell it to you, like basic stuff, but like I would really hope that you could figure that out. Like just look at some other people's profiles and get a general sense of what's supposed to be on there. Then what you do is you is you want to get to the point where you also have some kind of a container event. So this is a problem that a lot of guys have. It's sort of weird, but I'll sometimes ask people, I'll say, hey, look, if you met me out, what would you invite me to? And they'll go, like, I use myself as an example because I'm on YouTube. And they'll say, hiking. And then the answer that I always give is I say, well, if I met you out, I would talk to you and have fun talking to you. But if you invited me to go hiking, why would I go hiking with you and not with my kids? Why would I go hiking with you and not a girl who I'm dating? Why would I go hiking with you and not my staff? Why would I go hiking with you and not have a moment alone? Why would I go hiking with you and not maybe do some business phone calls on the hike? Like, what is it about you why I'm going to go hiking with you? Or then they'll say, well, I'll invite you out to a club. I know a cool club. And I'm like, well, similar answer. Why am I going with you to a club? Right? And then what I like to say, I say this as sort of an extreme example to put things in perspective for people. I say, look, this is sort of like a funny example. I'll say, I have 3 beautiful sons. Do you think that my sons deserve more of my time? Yes or no? And they're like, well, of course. I say, I've got incredible staff. Do they deserve to get paid more and to have a job that's more fun and maybe not to have to work as hard so they can have a better life, so they can spend more time with their children and family? Yes or no? Well, yeah, of course. I say, okay, do my clients deserve to have better prices? Like, for example, I do free events like Denver this week, LA, Charlotte, Atlanta, Nashville, Portland, Seattle coming up, right? I do free events. I have an entirely free course that I give away that's about $1,000 course. Well, how do I give away a $1,000 course? How do I run free events? How do I do free lives? How do I do free reels on Instagram? Free stories on Instagram? Free. How do I do that? Well, I do that because I make money, and then I can afford to do things for free. It's a massive financial challenge to do that, but I've found ways to do that. Well, don't my clients deserve more free stuff? If a client of mine is taking a paid program, should they deserve the best paid program they could do? Well, what do I say to my children? Say, Daddy couldn't hang out with you today because I met a random guy out and I went for coffee with him. Or went on a hike with a random man. Right? Like, I go to my staff, I say, you can't get paid as much because I went on a hike with a random man. I say to you, hey, I can't do free events anymore because I just go on I go on random hikes with random men. Obviously, now here's the key. One random hike with one random man isn't going to tank my business. It's not going to destroy my children's upbringing. It's not going to make my staff have a less good experience. But if my standard is that any random man who invites me for a hike, I say yes, that's my standard. That inherently means I'm going to be broke. That inherently means that I give away my time too easily, okay? So on the front end, you can use your personality as a driver to get someone to go on a hike with you. But in my view, you're only hitting it at one layer. You're hitting it at the layer of personality driven, okay? So basically, your personality is really good, your subcommunication is good, but your offer isn't really that good. So you want to think of an offer, you want to imagine if you had the worst personality in the world, okay? Which you should work on your personality. But imagine if you had the worst personality in the world and the only thing that could get people to come out was like a good offer. Well, backwards engineer it from that, and now all of a sudden you're in a completely different situation. So I think that if you're like a real baller, you don't just rely on, the fact that you're like a nice person. I think you also curate some kind of like a small community or get together of some kind to invite people to. And a simple example would be that here in LA, we have a beach. So, having a bonfire where you kind of curate groups of people that you invite out to a bonfire, and now it's more like a party, right? Well, look, high-level men will always go or almost always go where the women are at. So that's something that, now there's value, right? So now all of a sudden, if I'm sitting here and you're like, oh, and there's girls there, and it's like, oh, shit, and I'm more likely to go out, right? Or go find random rich guys. And rich guys, they often believed that getting rich would allow them to have social connections. So they've overcompensated. This is a very, very, very common thing where like a rich guy is friends with a social guy. That's super common. So go find a rich guy who has a mega yacht. By the way, clients of mine do this. Like in France right now, in the south of France, I literally have old school clients of mine that are running around on $200 million yachts, all with supermodels. Like, I don't know if it'd be like literal Victoria's Secret models, but like women who resemble supermodels. And you can look this up. I can refer you to this. And literally, they're running around with these girls on mega yachts, and they didn't pay a single penny for it. Well, why is that? Because they're connecting rich men to beautiful women. So that is like another simple piece, right? Like just go find rich guys that are lonely and then connect them to social connections that they want is another one, right? So, maybe you get access, like you don't need to own a boat. Like for example, I do parties here, usually about twice a month, like really, really huge parties, but I don't always want to use my house to do a party. I like to use other people's houses. So I have friends who have estates. I have friends who have really cool apartments. I have friends that have all sorts of different properties. And then I run my list through a gamut of all of these different houses, because also a lot of time people get bored just coming up to the same house. So this house is built for parties. I mean, if you go on the full screen, you'll see it's like, it's all like crazy lights everywhere, and the whole upstairs is filled with pillows, and there's like giant teddy bears everywhere. There's a panda bear fucking behind me. Like this house is just there's way too many couches because it's just loaded with, there's couches all over the place so people could come in. So we do parties here about twice a month. Big ones. We also do dinner parties, get-togethers, things like that. But it's one of those things where, I don't want to only do it at my house. I also like to do it at other people's houses. So, I'm always looking for guys that have money who I can go talk to. And a simple way to identify men with money is typically guys that have money wear certain clothing or certain attire that will identify them as having money, right? That could be Rolex, AP, Patek watches. It could be random designer. Like I am wearing, like, these are stupid ass Jordans that no woman would ever recognize, but other rich men will know that those are like $1,000, right? They're the exact same shit as regular Jordans, but those are the $1,000 Jordans, right? And other rich men will know what that is. So you want to kind of know who a rich guy is, and then you want to know how to quickly strike up a conversation with him. You want to network with that guy. You want to do business with him. You want business contacts. So that would be like, sort of another angle to it, right? So just meet other rich guys out, befriend them. And you, again, like, what do they need? Like, they probably need like access to that bonfire that you've set up, or a little card game that you've set up, or things like that, right? So that's another component. And then of course, when they follow up with you, they're probably going to trade social media. So basically what you're doing is you're like a normal, cool person that gets funneled into social media, that gets funneled into a good offer. And then in that good offer, you have a very, very high retention rate, and you wind up having it to where you're a leader within that environment. Okay. So, and also you want to create environments where like the kind of transactions that you want to have happen will happen, right? If it's like, fun and hooking up, well then you want that to be a fun environment, very carefree. The lighting and the environment is meant to sort of lead itself to that. If you're looking for a more classy environment where business is happening, you want to build an environment that's clear for that, right? So you want to get it to where you could basically see anybody on the street, and then you know how to engage with them in a friendly way. And then you know how to engage with them, you know how to network with them, and then you have social media that they can look at and get a sense of who you are, decide whether or not they want to follow up with you, and then from there you have a good offer. And the main key to the offer is it's something that you could be doing anyway, and something that they could leave. Okay, something that you could be doing, something that you would be doing anyway, and something that they can leave at any point. Now, what that is going to result in when you do that is it's going to take the pressure off of them. So it allows them to just come and sort of see what you're up to without any form of pressure, okay? Now, getting a little bit more specific, like I was saying earlier, what I led into this with, I call this video How to Get What You Want, but people at a high level understand that it's never really about what you want. It's always about giving other people what they want, right? So like, when you're talking to other rich people, successful people, attractive people, like, you're both speaking in a way where like the energy's moving out. It's not a taker energy, it's a giver energy. And that's not because you're a codependent who's just like a compulsive giver, but you don't know how to receive. And you have like an unhealthy relationship with yourself. Rather, what it is you are somebody who is so filled with your own fulfillment that the cup runneth over. It's like, I'm so rich, I'm so powerful, I'm so attractive, I've got everything, and I'm just bored. And so as a result of that, I just am friendly to people because I'm literally just bored, because I'm literally in this like weird, like this bizarre reality where there's no gravity to it. I'm floating around in this gravityless environment where like it's like unlimited money, unlimited dates, unlimited social options. It's like this endless boulevard of green lights where everything's just easy for you. That doesn't mean to pose that you're rich, by the way, but that's like the kind of mindset that you have in that situation, that you want for nothing. And then basically what you're doing is you're just talking to the person, and all the focus is off of you and it's more on them. And the reason why that is because you're so baller. Like, you're just so baller, you're so cool, you're so everything, that it's like inevitable that you would be joking and laughing and having fun and just like saying hi to somebody. And like, it's almost like you're the friendliest person in the world while almost having pity on them. Like, that's really what the frame is more, is like, you're so overwhelmed with like goodness, even if you're not rich, by the way, but you've just aligned your life to where you're happy. Literally, you know, you could be a surfer kid, like surfer boy living on the ocean with your friends, like in a tent, just surfing every day, but you're so happy in your life that you don't give a fuck, right? So you've built a life that you're happy with, and then that just reflects that you're just in such total abundance that you just want to celebrate life. So you celebrate life just by talking to people, because you're just like, I don't need anything, I don't want anything. So it's like, how are you doing? Like, what's up with you? You know, right? Like, what's this about? No way. Really? You know, and also because you don't want anything, you probably tease them, because normal humans tease each other. Normal humans joke around with each other, and so on and so forth. So what winds up happening is that you do that. And then you can also put in things like qualifiers. Like, you can get it to where as you're talking to the person, you could be like a little bit like kind of like in a quirky, fun way, like kind of suspicious, like kind of like sizing them up, you know, like asking them qualifier questions. And that's really the key, if in my view, to build trust, because you can't, if you're just coming up and just giving, people often feel a lack of trust when that happens. And the reason why they feel a lack of trust, in my opinion, is because it's like, well, like, this is too good to be true. So you've got to sort of show that, like, hey, I've got qualifications too. Like, I don't even know if I trust you. And they're like, no, you could trust me. And you're like, all right, maybe, you know, we'll see. Right. So then, you know, or like, you know, sometimes you can like, you know, turn your back around when you're like, oh, no, you know, stuff like that. They're like, no, wait, you know, so show them that they also have to earn it for you a little bit too. They've got to bring their best foot forward too. You can't just make it where it's like give, or they're not as likely to come out, right? And really those two things, like between the qualifiers and then a proper social media and a proper offer, and then the fact that your personality is not weird and not putting them off and not scaring them and not being a taker, these are the things that make it very, very effortless to bring a lot of people into your life. And so what winds up happening is a percentage of people who you meet will want to do business with you right away, will want to like hook up with you right away, want to run off an adventure with you right away. Like, you're going to see that right off the jump. It's just like, it's a percentage of people. It's maybe, could be 5%, could be 10%, could be 20, 30%. But there's just like an immediate chemistry and rapport that you see, right? So now you don't need to do this whole song and dance like, well, here's my social and here's my event. And it's like, you don't need to do that. You're going to have a percentage of people like that. And that's going to happen via knocking on a lot of doors, right? It happens via a broader net of lead generation, obviously. But then what you do is you also have a lot of people that are more fence sitters, right? Like, they're like, okay, he's cool. Like, that was okay. You know, but then they kind of look you up and they're like, this guy's hilarious. Like, this guy's really cool. You know, and then they see that from your social, which is just well curated. Well, then, you know, it's like, hey, I'm doing this thing. And it's like not even a big deal. It's like, it's happening with or without you. I mean, again, it's like, that's kind of like, this is like my networking with you, right? It's, you know, if you're in Denver, come out and see me in Denver. First time there since 2015, 9 years ago. Probably the last time I'm there for 9 years. So Denver, come out and see me. Well, if I'm like, look, I'm going to be in Denver anyway. I'm going to be talking to a big group of people. You can come when you want. You can leave when you want. I would be there anyway. There's a lot of people that are having fun. Well, now you're more likely to come and meet me. Then if I'm just having fun, I'm not needing anything, and I'm networking with you, that is when you create a lot of synergies. And there's going to be people in Denver that are wealthy. There's going to be people in Denver that have access to like beautiful cabins in Colorado, people that have like really interesting professional experiences, people that know attractive women. There's going to be people who know things about health or books or things like that. And they're going to come up to me and they're going to try to offer that to me. And they're going to try to even like really work hard to offer that to me, because the language of high level people is giving. And then I'm offering something to them, which is like a cool experience for a couple of days of doing an event. So that is how you properly network, right? And even contacts that I have of wealthy people that are out there that are not even into my content, I'll just be like, hey, I'm doing this, just show up at it as a way to make a contact. There could be women who I'd like to get to know better, and maybe I'll literally land in the airport in Denver, and as I'm waiting for my bags, I'll be talking to them. I'll see them, I'll go engage in conversation with them, and I'll go, yeah, I'm doing an event tomorrow. Why don't you come through? They check out social, they see it's legit, they pop by. Now I'm in an environment where I'm owning the room, leader in the room, people are clapping, people respect me, you know, and it's just a more favorable environment. Now, that doesn't mean that I couldn't meet that same person at the airport and something wild happens that night, but I'm not depending only on that happening, because I understand that I have a proper funnel, and I understand that I have something cool to invite them to, right? Or that could be a party. Like, for example, I have friends in Denver. They'll probably be doing parties that weekend, and so on and so forth, right? So the challenge is, and this is sort of what I've experienced, the vast majority of low-level people will never actually figure this out, okay? Like, they just never do. So if you think about it, like, okay, say that you think, like, let me use some examples, but let me dumb it down further. So I'm going to give some examples that could be currently out of reach for you, but I hope we'll get you there. But then I'm going to show you like some simpler examples, okay? So a simple example would be like I have a pretty big house. Do I need a house as big as this? Absolutely not. I definitely don't. I personally find, like, I've lived in a lot of big houses. I personally find it to be too big. Like, I'm completely fine with a 2-bedroom apartment, 1 bedroom to sleep in, another bedroom as an office, and then just having like a little place to eat my food. Like, I don't need like to be like literally like going up and down 5 flights of stairs and having giant rooms and all this kind of stuff. It's not like, look at the height of these ceilings. Like, clearly this is like way too fucking high for ceilings. Like, why do we have to have ceilings like this? We don't, okay? The cool thing, I guess, is the view. So, to another business owner, what does that say to another business owner? Because, by the way, while I have always believed that money makes no difference when it comes to attraction between men and women, I do think that if I'm a multimillionaire and then you're a multimillionaire, that makes it a little bit easier to network. You could also network with multimillionaires when you're broke, but it's a different approach, okay? So, so what is a house that's too large symbolize to another multimillionaire? It basically just symbolizes, like, I'm not a fucking retard. Now, I understand that when you hear that, that sounds nasty. That's like, it's like, why are you saying that, well, if you don't have a house, I'm a fucking retard? But when I say that, here's what I mean. What it means is, like, anybody can get their shit together if they decide to, right? Like, anybody could wake up one day and say, I don't just want to work a 9 to 5. I don't just want to have mediocre results in life. Like, it's basically like, here's kind of what I'm trying to say. I'm not a physicist. I'll probably fuck this up, but it's like in physics, one of the law of physics, I think they call it the law of entropy, which is basically, and I probably got this wrong, but my understanding of it is basically everything is kind of decaying back to its most likely state. And its most likely state is just like a bunch of fucking dispersed stardust, right? Like, inevitably, like, this whole solar system will just like become a bunch of fucking dust, like floating over the fucking galaxy aimlessly, right? So for things to sort of coalesce and kind of like take shape and take form, that is more of like, that is something a little bit more advanced, and that's obviously something desirable. So all that a big house really shows is it's not actually better to live in a bigger house. You don't need that much space. But what a bigger house shows to other people is like, oh, I'm not just going through life in this sort of weird apathy where I just can't figure it out. Like, I just can't figure it out. Like, my mom was mean to me when I was a kid, and I hear these voices that I'm bad, and then I smoke the weed, and then I drink, and then I eat processed food because other people just put this shit in front of my face, and I just consume it. And, I just don't know how to focus my mind long enough to build a business, and it just makes me sad. And plus, like, it doesn't like make me money right away. So I get angry and I just get mad about it. I want to give up. And then, like, my mind is like in this whirling chaos, right? Like, it's what it's basically saying. Like, what does the big house say? It's like, I calmed down. I just was a normal guy. I calmed down. I audited my strengths, had friends audit my strengths, maybe took some courses. I audited my time. I figured out how much extra time I had. And then I just went to work on that, probably tried a few different things. Some of them didn't succeed. And then, started to get some traction with this thing that I did. Saw there was traction there. And then I just went and I did that thing and I made some money from it, right? So it's like, I'm not like, that's what I'm saying. I'm not a retard. I'm not saying someone's like mentally retarded if they're not have a mansion. But what I'm saying is, like, it's not that hard to just calm down, audit your strengths, audit your time, try some different things, and then just have a bit of extra cash, right? So it's kind of like, it's kind of just like saying, hey, I'm not like fucking insane, right? And then like little basic trinkets, like like a bracelet or a watch or something like that. Basically what that it's just like kind of stupid. It's like a pointless thing, but it just shows other wealthy people like, hey, like, it's okay for me to go spend, like, take 20K. Like, for poor people, that's like half their year's salary, but you could just spend that on like a trinket, right? So it's not that you're trying to like ball out or show that you're so cool. I don't think that other rich people like rich people know they're just regular people, but it just shows like, it's not so much that you're such a baller that you're rich. It's that you're not fucked up. Like, you're just normal. You're just somebody who takes your time and just budgets it and doesn't waste it, and then just like figured out some lanes and tried some stuff, read some books. Like you just did stuff that's normal. So that's really what it's showing, right? So that would be like one layer of looking at that, right? But I think the reason why, like you probably seen a lot of like the red pill stuff where they talk about how like, women like find like a large majority of men to be like women find a large majority of men to be like kind of disgusting and repulsive. Well, I think a big reason why that is, like why women find guys to be disgusting and repulsive, is it's like that girl's just looking at the guy and it's like his social media is like a fucking mess. What does that show when the guy's social media is like fucked up? It basically just it shows that the guy doesn't even have the mental capacity to just go sort out some pictures or some little funny like little reels and just like make it look nice. Like he couldn't even do that. Like it was like beyond him to do that. So it's basically like kind of a guy that like in their mind perhaps shouldn't reproduce. Or that, in business, it's like you go look at their social media and you're like, oh, so like this is chaos. So you can also expect that like they're going to be late. They're not going to have integrity. They're probably not going to do the things they say they'll do because they're just in fucking chaos. And that's like the majority of the world. Like huge portions of the world are just in like this complete fucking chaos. The government's corrupt. People are on fucking drugs. They're on drinking alcohol. They're eating horrible processed foods. They're on all these pharmaceuticals and stuff like that. So it's like, they're just a mess. Like it's just a fucking mess. So like, is being rich or like being good at social skills like really mean that you're that cool? Like you're this impressive person? It just means you're not retarded. Do you see what I'm saying? Right? But like the funny thing is like, we talk as if like having these high level things is like really impressive. It's actually not. It's sort of just basic, but the world is just such a mess that becomes normalized, and you sort of have to take a journey to like shedding that level of low standards. So in the same way, like having a basic container event, like say a bonfire on a beach, like what does that show a woman, for example? It just shows her like, instead of you sitting there fapping all day, smoking drugs, you made some friends. Or like, instead of being a creep who who just can't even, like you're just like you're just like so empty that like just like you're just like a vampire. What is a bonfire like having fun with you and your friends show? It shows the cup runneth over. It shows I'm not just a fucking weirdo that just roams around going up to people to take something. I like to have real fun. I like to have real fun because, sometimes you wonder with sex, for example, you're like, well, I'm just horny. Like, how come they couldn't be horny? Like, why can't they be horny like me? And things like that. And what it is like, it's not that they don't enjoy physical intimacy. It's that it's like you're wanting it so bad that it looks like you don't get it. Like funny enough, in both ways, it looks like you don't get sex, but it also looks like you don't get it of like being cool. So it's like you're too rushed to get it. So it's like you're a homeless person begging for $1 because you're starving to death, and then it just makes it look like nobody else likes you, and that probably if they had children with you, that no one would like their children. So when you're doing like say a bonfire, just as an example, what it shows is like, oh, like he has female friends, like he has attractive female friends that maybe he hooks up with sometimes, but he also has real female friends because he's in so much abundance that he's not needing anything, right? Like normal guys that have a lot of people who they're seeing and people that they're dating, in many cases also have a lot of female friends because they're not in a big rush to like hook up with everybody. Like they also have standards. So, you might have like some female friends that are bombshells, but you have standards. And if you don't feel like a unique chemistry with somebody, you're not even in a rush to do anything with them. Or maybe like, here or there, you were having a party and you hooked up just like once or twice and you didn't make a big deal out of it because you're not trying to like wife up every single person that hooks up with you. So it's one of these things where it just shows that you're a basic normal guy who has female friends, who has cool male friends. So they also, if they dated you, they get to inherit that network, which is also very, very appealing. They fall in love with the friends. They fall in love with the vibe. They fall in love with the lifestyle. You can have a lifestyle for free. But it just shows that you were able to just get your shit together. I mean, same thing with like just making a couple wealthy friends that have like some cool houses to do parties in. Like I literally do this all the time. Like I literally I'm out looking for wealthy guys that look like they might actually want to do a party. And then I chat with them. I build rapport with them quickly. And I'm like, hey, we'll invite some people over. They're like, wow, that's so fucking cool. Because they are lonely in most cases. So what you're basically showing is like, hey, like, I can put together an event. So like, what, like, as a simple example, like say that I'm meeting somebody, what are they seeing? They're like, oh, okay, so like, he is able to get a cool crib. He is able to, like, he has seminars going. He has parties that are going. He has people who like him. He has female friends who are genuinely his friend, right? Like, like if I'm doing a party here, I've got like, over 100 female friends here that are really my friends. I don't know if I'd call that like a deep friendship, but I am friends with them. And they're like, Owen, like, and I treat my female friends like royalty, like I give them advice. I invite them to things. Like I treat them really, really well. So then what happens is that if I like someone, like, say I'm sitting on the couch over there and I like somebody, my really, really hot female friends are coming up and they're like trying to get my attention, trying to talk to me. And then the girl that I'm talking to that I like, obviously she's going to see these girls like continually coming up, like, and then guys are coming up and they're like, bro, you're a legend, awesome party, and this is just going on and on and on. Oh, okay, cool. Maybe we chat for a bit and I maybe met 15 or 20 people here that I'm kind of into. But hey, in another week, I'm doing a seminar. Maybe it's just a small seminar up at the crib. Hey, pop by, we're going to be doing a seminar. Okay, cool. So now I'm doing a seminar. And then it's like, oh, here, I'm going to do a communication exercise on vocal projection. Hey, you should do it too. You should do it too. And then maybe I do it with that person that I like. By the way, guy or girl, because I invite guys and then I'm like, hey, let's do your voice. And he sees the other students doing it. Maybe I want to network with that guy. And then I kind of bring him into that world as well, right? And then maybe maybe I'm doing a big hike with a bunch of friends, or maybe we're all just going up to the Griffith Observatory. Maybe I've got a club promoter friend of mine who's doing a comp dinner, and if you bring a bunch of girls there, you get a comp dinner. So I just have a lot of situations where, like, yes, absolutely, like if I'm in Las Vegas or if I'm in Miami South Beach, I don't need to have a network to invite people into to meet somebody, because again, there's going to be a percentage of people that you're meeting that you have so much chemistry with that it's like on and popping right away. So you're not reliant on that. But I still believe that the two biggest sticking points that I see with a lot of people is, first of all, they don't qualify properly. They're just like, well, to be fair, the biggest sticking point, because the world is so crazy and low level, is that people can't even say hi to people, which is insane. But then even once you get to the point that you can talk to everybody, then what winds up happening is then you're like, you're really not qualifying, right? Like there's no like takeaway, there's no qualification. So then it just looks like you're like kind of up to something. It's like you're being a weirdo. It's like, how come you don't have a standard, right? So, somebody at a high level also has a standard, right? Somebody at a high level with that much going on isn't just available to keep talking and talking and talking. So what winds up happening is like, you could be like really great voice, really funny, know how to free associate, know how to control frames, all that stuff. But in the same way that here in LA, almost no one's ever been to Disneyland because they know it's always there. I think what happens is in a lot of cases, the people that you're talking to get a sense of like, he's always going to be there. He's always available. He's just too available. There's no scarcity behind it, okay? The example that I always give is with Rolex watches, where if you look it up, like a black dial Daytona, a black dial gold Daytona is about 30K, a green dial gold Daytona is around 80K. Well, why is there a 50K difference just because of the dial? There's just less green dials. If you made the black dial less common, that would be 80K. And then if you made the green dial more common, that would be the lower one. It's purely scarcity driven, okay? It's the same thing with like the random shoes and stuff like that, right? Like cheap ass fucking Nikes, but like there's just less of the red laced olive ones, so and then it's like a Travis Scott one. So as a result of that, they go up to like $1,000. Some of them are $2,000. Why is that? It's just because there's less. There's no other reason than because it's less. People want the scarce thing. So if you're not qualifying, then you're not scarce, right? Like you go into a Rolex dealership with $100 grand and you say, I want to buy a Rolex. They're not going to sell it to you. You break out $100 grand, they're not going to sell it to you because you have to make friends with them first. Like you literally, like they're literally going to look you up and see if you're someone that they want wearing their stuff. You go to Patek Philippe, they'll say you have to be a friend of Patek. Right, and you say that you want the Nautilus, which is like the most famous watch. You're like, I want the Nautilus. They're like, we want to know that you really like the brand. We want to see your purchase history. They basically want to get you to buy like, they're going to put you on a list for some like really less desirable watches. You're going to have to buy a bunch of them to even get to buy the expensive watch. Okay, and why is that? Because they're going to qualify you. Now that sounds idiotic, right? You're like, look, if I walk in there with $100 grand, why not just take the $100 grand? You have to, this is the key piece of the whole thing. If you could immediately have the watch, it would no longer be able to charge $100 grand for that watch. It would immediately be a $500 watch because the actual pieces in the watch are not worth that much. So it would become commoditized. So they would charge 100 grand for a watch, but nobody would ever buy it because anyone can have it. It is only because it is scarce that it places a value on it. So you have to be qualifying. You have to have a social media, or not have to, because I think you can meet someone that night too, but to maximize your opportunities rather, and for fence sitters to be won over, you have to have it to where your social media is screaming at them, I'm busy. Screaming at them, I'm in demand. Screaming at them, I'm satisfied in my life. And by the way, the real pros that I see are good at not only showing social proof within the pictures, but also a lot of solo pictures where they're just happy. I'm telling you, that is like such a key piece, right? Like the guy I know in LA that is like has the best dating life anyone I know in LA. Literally, he has all these videos of him squeezing a lemon, and he just looks like he's elated, like he has elation squeezing a lemon, or like he'll have pictures of himself like in a, and this guy's only 5'7", and he's probably 110, 120 pounds, and not an overly good looking guy. Like probably looks as good as like any average guy. Dresses well, like really artistic looking, but basically he has over 100K followers, all bombshell women. Like it's crazy. Like women just like fan out for this guy, and he's like a nobody, but they just fan out for him, and it's just ridiculous. Like he posts something, and it's just like look at who's commenting, and it's just like, ugh, it's crazy. Like all these bombshells commenting, and it's literally just picture after picture of him. Like it is hot tub, just having like a sip of champagne alone, right? Or it's like him, like he'll be at like Runyon Canyon, and then he's like alone, just like, and then he just gets up and starts dancing like all by himself. Or he starts doing like funny voices and like imitations, but like it's all framing like, not only do I have like a psychotic social circle, but in addition, I also just feel so good in my own body that I don't need anything, right? So you want it to be clearly screaming out, I don't need anything. And not only that, but I have like too much to do, and I have like a lot of attention, but not only that, I'm even hiding from that attention. Like that guy, he's at a point where like when everyone in LA is posting stuff from Coachella, he's literally posting himself golfing by himself alone. And he's at a point where it's like 90% of Coachella wishes that I was there. They all know me, and I'm golfing because I'm too cool to even go to Coachella. Like that's like you not go to Coachella, most likely, right? That doesn't signify anything. But him going down from Coachella, it's almost like a super famous actor being like, oh, I'm not going to wear that Dolce & Gabbana suit because that Dolce & Gabbana suit makes Dolce & Gabbana look good. It's elevating Dolce & Gabbana for me to wear that suit, not me being elevated, right? So like that guy, he's not being elevated by going to Coachella. Coachella would be elevated by him being there. And that's like literally the level of communication that he's on. But obviously, you just posting a golf thing from not going to Coachella might not be the best fit for you. But the point being is like, it's basically just, like I said, it's a lot of this stuff is just sorting out basic apathy and basic just chaos, right? So like a lot of the problems with learning this stuff is chaos in the mind and stupidity. And the reason why I say that is because like somebody could be watching this video and want to learn from it. But then if you go look at their room, funny, Jordan Peterson always hammers this, you go look at their room and the room is a fucking mess. The mess in the room is an extension of the chaos of the mess of the mind. It's not 100% of cases, but in many cases it could be, right? When someone's like, if you see a homeless person, they have oftentimes deep rooted chaos in their mind, and then they live in squalor, right? And their outer reality mirrors their inner reality, right? And it's actually incredibly tragic and sad. But the point is like, you want to be just calm down your mind, right? And like, you don't need to have like, look, you don't even need to have like a ton of confidence. You don't need to have like a ton of like, I'm the man. A lot of the time it could just be like, I'm a normal fucking happy person and my mind is calm, and then I just clean my room, I do my social media, I organize small events, I go say hi to people, I go engage with people, and I'm a happy person spreading good vibes. I'm not making this harder than it has to be. I'm not making it super complicated. Just those basic things. These alone, these basic fundamentals, if you just did that, would change your social life so dramatically that you would have a lot more financial opportunities. Your dating life would be something that people would go like crazy seeing. They would think that like, how is he doing this? And I'd also tell you that your ability to get, offered jobs or get plugged into better networks or things like that are going to dramatically improve. Your friendship groups could improve. You're just going to see a lot of people wanting to be part of your life. And it's really just basic, simple stuff of doing what you're supposed to do. Just doing basic, simple stuff. And so I understand, like, obviously if you're coming from a place of not doing that and, your mind is in chaos, you go to see someone, oh my God, and it's like a big deal because your mind is just like attacking you. I'm really sorry about that. And, I've honestly experienced that when I was younger myself. It's really tough. It's horrible. It's like being in hell. But you have to understand the way out of this is not like having to become like, get a Bugatti as the joke, right? Or something like that. Like, it's not like that. It's more just like beginning to sort your shit out, right? And what'll happen is, in my experience, is you begin to sort your shit out. And we always say that, like, first you learn how to talk to women. That's the first thing that the guys learn how to do, is how to talk to women. Next, what you do is you learn how to talk to yourself. And the last thing that you do is you learn how to talk to other high-value men. And here's why I say that. Learning how to talk to women is one of the easiest things that you could ever do. Like, it's ridiculous. You just are fun and they like you. But you still might have like a lot of deep-rooted inner turmoil going on. So, once you start talking to women, you're like, wow, like women like me. Like, it's not even hard to get women to like me. It's normal. It's easy. Sex is a normal thing. Making out is a normal thing. Going on dates is a normal thing. Meeting up with people is a normal thing. Like, it's normal. And you're like, this is cool. Well, then now all of a sudden you start kind of like extending that into your psyche. You're like, wait a minute. Like, I don't need to like say I'm a bad person. Like, I'm a balanced person. I have some good qualities. I have some bad qualities. But that's okay. I accept that. I don't need to like start catastrophizing. I don't need to like fuel negative chaos in my brain. I could just be present to the moment and just live my life. Well, then from that standpoint, now you start to sort out your inner psyche. Well, then what happens is that you start to meet other high-level men. And like high-level men have been through a process of their own transformation. And high-level men typically, are responsible, whether it's for kids or for their employees or for their clients or for different social groups. And so a lot of the time people come up like low-level people come up to high-level men with a very bad attitude because they don't understand what it's like to have that kind of pressure, to have those kind of responsibilities, right? Like, if you're inviting another high-level man out for something, you've got to take into consideration his kids, his payroll obligations for his business or his clients, his the people who rely on him. So you got to offer him something. So that something could be like a really, really cool curated environment that lets him get his mind off of his problems, and that also is with other good people who he could network with. It could be things like attractive women, which, like, what guy on earth is like not going to want that? It could be things like just really unique things, right? Like in my case, I do seminars, but I also do a lot of other unique things, and just kind of offering that. And then because it's weird, like people come up to me and we'll have a good conversation out, like guys, and then I think that they get the impression that because we had a good conversation that we're friends now, that they're the only person that I had a good conversation with. And so now, like, we're going to start meeting up and we're going to start hanging out, like me and them. And then they're going to get access to my networks, and they're going to get access to the women that I know, and they're going to get access to the knowledge that I have. And like, I'm going to sit there and basically like, even though there's people that are offering me like crazy amounts of money for one-on-one coaching, I'm just going to give them like a free one-on-one. And like that, they think they're going to get that because we had a cool interaction. But in my mind, it's like, well, what have they done to help to expand my world, right? Because I'm willing to help expand their world for free. But what have they done to expand my world? And they haven't built anything to expand my world. So what they want is to get what they want, which is like $100,000 in free coaching one-on-one. But they, that I've said no to, that I could have used, like that if I was going to do that, I could have given those funds to my staff. I could have given that to my children, but instead I'm going to like say no to that. So I have a bit of free time so I can be a sane person. But then somehow I'm just going to I'm going to adopt some new one-on-one client. Why? Because like me and them have like some unique rapport, even though I have great conversations with everybody. So making friendships and relating with other high-level men, I think that on some level, you also want to go through a bit of a process where like you build something where you can help to expand their world, where you can take into consideration the responsibilities that they have, and so on and so forth. So it's funny because like I'll meet guys out and we'll have a great conversation, and then they'll be like, hey, so let's meet up. And I'm like, cool, what do you want to do? And they're like, I don't know, like meet up. And I'm like, and then I sound like an asshole because what people in LA do here is they'll go, oh, of course we'll meet up, and they flake. And I always hated that when I was younger because I didn't understand why I was being flaked. So, I probably should stop doing this. Really what I should do is just do what the LA people do and go, yeah, and then just not call them back. That's probably what I technically should do. But instead, here's what I do, which never even works. It's like, it doesn't even accomplish anything. But what I do in most cases is I'll be like, bro, like invite me to something. And they're like, well, let's just meet up. And I'm like, come on, man. Like, what are you going to invite me to? And I say that to try to help them. And then they'll be like, well, what? So I have to like invite you to something to hang out with you? And I'm like, I mean, I don't know, bro. Like, and I'll like show a picture of my kids. I'm like, I haven't seen my kids enough. I've got staff who I think should be getting a better life situation. I got clients I think I should be treating better. Like invite me to something to help expand my world, And like, of course, like it never works. They're always just like confused and then they leave. But I still choose to do that because I feel like when I was young and I lived in LA, I was confused with, I'd meet high level guys and then like I would have a good conversation and like they didn't want to like adopt me into their life. So what I realized was I've got to use my creativity to make a better social media profile, or I've got to use my creativity to make better things to invite people to. And it doesn't, again, just because I invite a guy to like some social thing doesn't mean I need to do business with that guy. Just because I, invite a beautiful woman out to an event doesn't mean that we have to have sex. It's just that because high level people realize that just having beautiful women around or high level women around or just having high level guys around, I mean, frankly, even like some male model looking dudes at the party doesn't hurt either, right? I just happen to have friends like that anyway. Those kind of like that kind of an eclectic mix, that's adding value. And then you're not like aggressively needing to like extract value out of every person that you're talking to. The mere fact that you created an environment, which is like a good vibe, good people there, and so on and so forth. You create an ecosystem like that, and then you're the head of that ecosystem. And I've been doing this out of like small hotels, like ratchet hotel parties, ratchet little studio apartment parties. I've been doing this since I'm 22. So it's one of these things where, even if it's ratchet, like you could make it fun, or you could find rich dudes that you could use their cribs, or you can go make money. It's stupid though how guys say like they're going to wait to make the money in order to like start having a better social life or dating life. It's like you should actually start that now because by the way, you could monetize that. People associate going out with like fucking up. I'm like, going out is how I built my public speaking skills. It's how I built my social skills. It's how I built social awareness. It's how I'm a better ambassador for my brand. It's where I met all my male connections from. It's where I met huge volumes of attractive women from that then become bait for attractive men to want to meet up with me as well. So it's one of these things where people associate going out as like a fuck up. I associate getting paid to go out. Like you're not supposed to just go out and like, you just go out like 20 hours a week and then you just don't make any money from that. Like you're supposed to be getting paid to go out. You're supposed to be getting paid to meet up with people. You're supposed to be getting paid to go on dates. Like, yes, you get paid to go on dates. That's normal. You don't just go on a date and not get paid for it. Like, oh, you paid money to go on a date. You should be using that for whether it's social media content or for contacts or to build out social circles or things like that. You got to be thinking in terms of multiple ROIs, not just like at a simplistic level. And obviously you're new, that might go a little bit over your head. It's like riding a bike. At first you're just trying to pedal and not fall. I get that. But it doesn't mean that you have to stay there permanently, okay? So basically, this stuff that I'm talking about is truly not that complicated. People will look at it as this like complicated thing that I'm doing. I mean, it even speaks to the bizarre mentality and psychology that people live in, that they think that like something like this is impossible. And in my mind, I'm like, it's impossible to say hi to people. It's impossible to put some better stuff on your Instagram. It's impossible to invite out some friends and have some cool friends. Like it's impossible to just take a little bit of leadership or action. Like you really think that? But it's like look, this is sort of like a weird thing to say, but like the average mentality of the masses is not as different from that as a homeless person as you think. And it's actually just like, if that's a spectrum, like homeless is here, the average is like here, and then normal is like somewhere over here. And that's what people think is exceptional. Like they think this is like visionary, exceptional, entrepreneur, super pimp. And it's like, this is just normal. This, what you call normal, is actually very close to homelessness. It really does resemble homelessness. I mean, Eckhart Tolle talked about that. He's like, when you look at a homeless person and they just are rambling as they walk down the street, like they're just talking to themselves and going like, fuck, 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 like as they walk down the street, they're not as different from the average person that you'd meet as what you'd think, because that person's just thinking it. They're not saying it, but they're stuck in their mental dialogue. Normalcy, in my view, the best thing that I learned for that was the power of now. It was Eckhart Tolle, which basically just told you to shut off all this heavy-ass inner dialogue that's just weighing you down. So the more that you can get out of inner dialogue and just be present, and don't make it like another stick to attack yourself with if you're not present, but the more that you could just be present, the more that vibe that you could have, okay? And then you're a happy person. You put out that radiance that other people feel because you're happy in your life. You engage with people. Again, you're going to have a lot of people that you have immediate rapport, immediate chemistry with, immediate business with, and go off and wild, crazy adventures with immediately. That'll happen same day, same night. But you're also not relying on that to happen because of the fact that you have an ecosystem built. So obviously, if you're on the road, you don't have access to that ecosystem. You have your social media and stuff, but you don't have access to that ecosystem. Although you can quickly spin them up. I mean, if I'm in Miami, if I'm in Miami, I go get 5 or 10 of my friends. We throw down a couple $100 each. We go get a yacht and then invite a bunch of people onto it. Like, that's a normal thing to do. Or we go get like a cool like little party thing going. We all run around, invite a few people. We put it together. That's a normal thing to do. But nonetheless, I've also had many, many years of just meeting somebody out and we just talk and we run off together. And that's also normal too. But you don't have to only rely on that. And what I was trying to do here, like my major goal with this talk, I was trying, and this is kind of how I came into this, and I hope that you liked it. I tried to come into this talk with a basic framework of like, because I like to come into these talks with a lot of swagger, like I'm over the top, free associating, I'm in state, and so on and so forth. So I thought what I would do in this talk is like, just for the sake of a kind of like a creative artistic purpose, I want to lower down my state, not project my voice, talk more monotone, and just show you that even monotone and out of state, I have a baseline that I can use to go meet people, and I have methodologies that I can use when I'm not in like 20 years of social polish swag mode, when I'm not in the zone, when I'm just normal. I have this that I can rely on as well, okay? And it's very consistent, and if you have fundamentals down, those fundamentals will take you very, very far, and you will get exactly what it is that you want out of life. But do remember that the language of receiving is actually giving, okay? And so what that means is that you, sort out your shit. And that doesn't mean that you need to have a mega mansion or six-pack abs. Those are extreme versions. But it does mean that you should sort out like the basic chaos in your head of discontent. It does mean to like sort out like you critiquing yourself, which is just being fucking weird. You don't even need to think you're amazing, just to have a balanced view of yourself and that you can talk to people. Sort out the fact that you think it's weird to go say hi. Sort out the fact that you're lazy that you just think everyone should just jump on their knees for you, when in reality you got to engage too. Sort out the fact that like if I go look at your social media, I can tell that you're not ready to succeed because you didn't just put some basic stuff into it. It doesn't even need to be amazing. Just get the basics. So you don't scare somebody or make yourself look retarded. And then from there, have some kind of a thing that you can invite people out to so that you're not just going, coffee, like, yeah, a random person that we just stare at each other over coffee. Again, when you have immediate chemistry with somebody, yes, the coffee is fine. Yes, inviting to your crib is fine. It's all fine when you have immediate chemistry. But why are you relying on that? And then the worst part is, when you're relying on all this immediate chemistry, you're browbeating yourself anytime that you don't have a result, and then you feel like you got rejected. But if you did it this way, you would never get rejected or be very minimal because you're a normal person who's just doing cool shit. Why not just focus on that, okay? Now, if you want to learn more, the most powerful frameworks to social skills are in this free course right here, which I'm taking down. I'm only leave it up here or there. Higher purpose program. Get inside there. And it is step by step. It's completely for free. Step by step. Little chunks showing you how to do everything that we talked about here, okay? And then from there, again, sort your shit out. Have you been to one of the free events? Have you been? Or if you have been again? Because everyone's different and better. So make sure that you get in it, like fly into Denver this weekend. Fly in. Come and see me. It's a free 2-day event. Like, do you really believe that I will be doing free events for the rest of my life and you can just come whenever you want? I'm doing them now. Denver, get over there this weekend. LA's coming up. Charlotte, Atlanta, Nashville, Portland, Seattle. Bring some friends. Get some friends signed up. Let's make it fun. Let's make an event together. Let's actually do this while I'm in town. Okay, I'd love to see you there. I'd love to relate with you. I'd like to learn from you. I'd like you to learn from me. And we're going to have fun. We're all going to go at the end of the day, and we're going to have a blast. And by the way, I got a broken leg right now. It's healing from skiing. Literally, this is a wheelchair right here, okay? I've been leaving this here like in these videos on purpose, just as kind of like a wheelchair series. So when I see it in the future, I can be reminded of my wheelchair. Guys, if you don't have results, y'all are fucking crazy. Because literally, let me show you what I'm doing, okay? No joke. I can't put any weight. This has to be non-weight bearing. It's doing well, but it has to be non-weight bearing. So literally, I hop into this chair, and literally, this is how I'd say hi to people, okay? I walk up, and I used to joke about this in my videos that I could do this in a wheelchair. I was like, I could do this in a wheelchair. And then people like thought I was talking shit. Is it this? Yeah, is this one here? Okay. I walk up. I'm down here, like at this level. I go say hi, and I begin that process from a fucking wheelchair. And they don't know if I'm permanently in it or temporarily in it. They have no idea. And it's literally this thing where I have the exact same results in a wheelchair as I did when I stood up. It's the exact same thing. The only difference in the wheelchair is you have to cut through the initial pity, because sometimes they pity you, so you have to cut through that. But if I can walk up as a pot-bellied, gray-bearded, bald man in a wheelchair with autism, then you can for sure go make some fucking friends, get a date, have a good sex life, make some money, network with people, make friends. You can 1,000% do it, but you can't just fucking sit there waiting for this shit to happen for you, okay? So a basic first step, like, you know, it's like, oh, I'm not one of those fucking idiots. Okay, you're not an idiot. Good for you. Well, show me that you're not a fucking idiot. Right here, okay? Go get in here now. Actually watch the fucking thing, and then take a cheap, look, even if you're broke, take a cheap flight and come out and see me, and tell me at the start of the event, but remind me if I forget. Say, hey, get me a free place to stay. I will literally call out to the audience, say, hey, somebody had the courage to come here while they're like, you know, kind of starting this out. They're in a rough financial spot. They can't even afford to get a hotel. I will find somebody to let you crash on their floor or couch. I crashed on a lot of floors and couches when I started, and if I can't find someone, you could crash at my house, okay? That rarely happens, but like 1 time out of 10, sometimes I can't find somebody, and I'll be like, come crash at my house, and people are like, holy shit, that's nice. But I'm like, I don't care, come crash at me. Come and crash at me, okay? It'd probably be on a floor or couch or something, but you come crash at me, okay? So there's no excuse. It's literally like a couple $100, the price of like a decent lunch, to come out and see me at one of the free events. This is done for people so that there's no excuse, okay? So handle your basics, get in there, hire a purpose program, watch it, self-help free tour, make sure that you watch it. Excited to meet you in person, excited to see you in Denver or one of these coming up. Love you very much. Hope this helped you, give you some frameworks, and a lot of time I wind up doing, see now I'm getting a little bit more in the zone. I'm trying to do this one normal, but, I do a lot of also virtual events, which actually you can get into on this page, by the way, the virtual events too. And a lot of time I break down people's social medias on those. And I'll probably break down your social media and look at your proper container events and so on when we meet up in person. So I'm excited to see you. I'll probably take this down 2-3 days from now, but very, very soon. So get inside there. This will be the last chance to get inside there. And I'll be back more soon. Handle these basics so that the next time that you watch this video, you actually have context for what the fuck I'm talking about, because I give you everything you need to hear. And make sure that you come out and meet me. The networking of these things is fucking crazy. Amazing, amazing, amazing networking at these free events. Okay, the networking is crazy. And at the end of the day, we're all going to go out together, and you're going to watch me do it right here in this chair. And you're going to go, what? This guy's in a wheelchair and he's doing all this? Like, this is that easy. And I'm going to make it easy for you. I'm going to make it real for you. All completely for free. And someday in the future, when I'm not doing that, people will go, you could have just come on this for free. And I'm going to go, yeah. And they'll go, could you look at another free one? I'm going to go, no. I did that for decades. I've finished that part of my life. Now I just do fucking stadiums. Take advantage of the fact that we've kept this niche for now, okay? I'll see you at the event. Love you very much. Peace.